Welcome back to MMA Breakdowns and Bets. You might notice there's two of us today this time. So, we thought we were going to get a divorce, and it turns out it was just a separation, and we tried to reconcile for all of you out there, all of our children. And so Brandan is back with us this week after a week in Costa Rica. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What were you doing down there?
Everything that you would think I'd be doing in Costa Rica. No, it was so much fun. So first and foremost, I'm wearing the Henzo Gracie Costa Rica shirt. Um, I had gone out there years ago, actually for my 21st birthday. At the time, it was Gracie Baja, Costa Rica. My friend Arturo and his whole family, the Wessons, they own the gym. Beautiful facility, beautiful part of Costa Rica. Amazing technique. He's a John Danaher black belt. His brother is a black belt under Hamila Bahal. Um, his sister actually is a black belt under Andre Galval. So that's a wide range of knowledge there. So nothing but welcoming. Man, they made the experience so awesome. And I learned so much in my week's time. So training every day, twice a day, eating gallo pinto for every meal. I love the Costa Rican food, the fish, and they actually set up a tournament too, just because I was there. So I got to compete on Saturday, which was an awesome experience. Some really tough guys, and so man, it couldn't have been a better experience for just away from them and May grind and just pure jiu-jitsu, which is something I haven't seen in a while.
Man, sometimes you need to get away from the MMA grind. It'll get you.
Yeah, and it's a really big difference. I mean, in MMA, it's weird. It's like jiu-jitsu is so easy, especially for you and I. I think we're obviously some of the better jiu-jitsu guys because at least in MMA. And what I mean by that is, okay, we're in a tricky spot, punch. Uh, he's not giving me what we want, punch. I can't pass the guard, punch. And it makes life really easy. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, now we have to be very crafty and calculated, and we're doing this, and it's a big chess match. And so the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 days I was there, nobody was giving me the reaction that I was hoping for. And so honestly, it took me probably until competition day and even maybe like the last training session that I had to finally start understanding the rhythm and the timing and kind of all the spots I needed to be. So now I'm excited to go back and go try it again with, the confidence.
So does this mean that you're now a Renzo Gracie brown belt and you've relinquished your Santino DeFranco brown belt?
Yes, I'm fully on board. Thank you, Arturo, for welcoming me. I'm an adopted brown belt now.
I believe the correct term is Creonte.
Yeah, call him whatever.
So this week we've got Amanda Lemos and Jessica Andrade, and I'm usually not a huge women's MMA fan. Not that I don't enjoy it, or I just am not as into it as I am, just men's MMA. This is actually a fun fight, just fan favorite striking affair. And Lemos is my favorite fighter. She is my favorite, at least my favorite female striker. So I'm actually really excited about this a lot. But before we get into that, I just want to say, thank you to mybookie.ag for sponsoring our podcast. You guys, if you need a book, go check out mybookie.ag on Instagram, the real mybookie. Right now, if you use code MMAPicks50, you get a 50% bonus up to $1,000. So you put in $1,000, you get $500 bonus. You put in $500, you get $250. But they're also doing something right now, a crypto bonus as well. So if you use crypto instead of regular cash, credit cards, stuff like that, you're actually there. I don't know if it's 50 or 100% match, but go check it out. That's actually not even part of the promotion. That was just something I was on their website looking at, and I was like, oh, if I deposit with crypto, I get a bonus on it too. So I deposited my last deposit on crypto right there. But again, mybookie.ag, thank you much. And it's use code MMAPicks50.
Well,
And then also you guys check out our Patreon, where Brandan is going to drop bombs this week on so much stuff. You get access to our Discord and then all of our picks. But Brandan, tell us what you're going to throw on the Discord.
well, first thing I actually want to say too, my bookie is a real book that I use. I love my bookie. People ask me all the time, what are books that have like small promotions? My bookie carries LFA, they carry CFFC, they carry all the small promotions, and a lot of times they're not slow to update lines, but they drag a little bit, or they'll even keep favorable lines to a lot of books. So I really like them. They, times were tough this year. I think I was down 70,000 units or whatever the hell. And the last money I had in, was in my bookie. It was $200. And I think in 2.5 weeks, whatever, I took it from $200 to 20,000. Now, obviously back down a little bit, and life corrected itself, but an awesome book. So if you guys want to help us out and go sign up, get your your deposit bonus, have fun with us. I think we should do something kind of cool. And like you're talking about with the Patreon, let's do, if you guys go sign up for my bookie and use our code MMA Picks 50 and you send me proof, send it to me on Instagram, Discord, whatever it is. Let's do a free month of Patreon. I think that's a way to get the ball rolling. I think that would be a good idea. So sign up for my bookie, use our code MMA Picks 50, show me proof of it. And if you do, we'll give you a free month of the Patreon. And this week is going to be sick. We have Bellator, we have LFA. As a matter of fact, I think the UFC is probably my fifth favorite card to bet on this week, out of everything.
I think you only said Bellator once.
Double Bellator, doble. That's what I learned. Doble.
Doble. Friday and Saturday we have Bellator. Well, let's get into this week's card for the UFC. And this UFC has actually taken a lot of hits. One of the fights I actually liked on here, we had Romanov. Well, I think you hate. Do you hate
yes,
Romanov?
I hate
Did
Romanov.
he say something?
Yes, I hate Romanov.
Yeah, he said horrible things to you, to your family, to your dog, something. But I liked him over Tanner Bozier. I thought it was an easy lock because Tanner Bozier can't wrestle, and Romanov will wrestle his ass off. And, I like that. That got scrapped. What else got scrapped right here? Jeez. I'm looking at it right now. Louis Koski, Preston Parsons, Tanner Bozier. Two Tanner Bozier fights fell off. Tanner Bozier and Rodrigo Nascimento. And then they replaced Romanov, and then that fight got canceled. The Steve Garcia fight got canceled. Jordan Wright fight. He was supposed to fight Roman Kopylov.
Oh, I'm really sad about
kind
that
of
one.
quite a. What's that?
I'm really sad about that cancel, the Kopylov cancel.
Yeah, you kind of knew what was happening there. But so lots of stuff juggling around. Oh, you know what's funny is there's one fight on here that I didn't look at, and I was hoping that you looked at. I actually meant to talk to you about it beforehand. It's Dean Barry and Mike Jackson.
Oh, I got you.
Are you familiar with this?
Very, 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 very.
And this is, for people that don't understand, first of all, I think this fight has been booked like 37 times, and it keeps falling through. And I'm not sure why, like what the hell is going on here. But let's see. Yeah, he was supposed to fight Mike Jackson, well, just twice. But he had 4 fights in a row cancel out. And I don't know what the hell's going on. But Dean Barry's only 4-1. And then you've got on the other side of this Mike Jackson, who's 0-1. I'm sorry if you guys hear that noise. That's my espresso maker turning off right now. It's cleaning itself, self-cleaning. That's how we do it over here. But it's off right now. But and then on the other side of that, we've got Mike Jackson, 0-1, fighting his second fight in the UFC. So he made his UFC debut when he made his professional MMA debut. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this? Because this is a weird one.
Wow. Okay. This one took way more energy than I was really, really hoping for. I do not think Dean Barry is very good. I do not think he's very, very good. He looks like he's wearing a diaper at all times. He's kind of got that short, weirdly like stubby body. I do not think he's very good. And here's the thing. He's an Irish karate guy. That's like getting sushi in Kentucky. What are we doing here? Irish karate. I don't think he's good. And I think he wins this fight. I really, really, really wanted to make a strong case for Mike Jackson here, because I remember watching that fight actually when I was going through the CM Punk catalog months ago. I'm like, dang, I remember Mike Jackson looking a lot better in my head than I saw in film. Honestly, in that fight, he was getting tagged over the top. He was really slow, kind of laboring. He looked like a reporter, and oh man, I really wish this was somewhere more in the stratosphere. If this was minus 400, if this was minus 500, if this was, geez, minus 600, we might be having a conversation. But taking Dean Barry at minus 1100, that's a lot to take in. I may do it, but between all the cards that are on this weekend, man, this seems like a real no touch. I mean, he's got virtually no takedown defense. He does decent scrambling up once he gets up. He's always hands low. He does get hit. He swings bombs, and in a couple of his fights, he was a little bit tired even in the first round. At least with Mike Jackson, he fought 3 hard rounds, and CM Punk, for as bad as he was, he didn't stop. That guy did not die, and he pressed it till the end. I think there's a lot of not unknowns in this fight. We know pretty much everything. We got an Irish karate guy who's going to swing hammers versus the reporter who's going to be a little bit more traditional boxing. I think Dean Barry is the side here, but I think you have to be demented in the head to be taking this. I think the better option here is fight doesn't go the distance.
Yeah, the fight does not go the distance. And I just checked as you were talking on Bovada, and the line is now on my side anyway. I haven't refreshed minus 1400.
Get out of here. That is nuts.
Come fight time, it'll be like minus 10,000.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you take that, if you take action on that, guys, on Dean Barry in a parlay or straight up, just unfollow this podcast. Just, off with you.
No, don't. I want you to tag us, and I'm curious to see how it goes. I want to know. I need to tag us on Instagram, and I'm going to stalk everything you've ever done.
No, he's going to win. He's going to win. He's going to win. He's the side here. He's going to win. He's just not very good. He fought, a guy who's a plumber in Titan FC. He's the Titan darling. He's just not that good. And he's going to look like a stud. And then the next fight's going to come around, and we're going to make a ton of money if he fights anyone remotely competent.
All right. Well, let's get to the real fights here. First one.
Doesn't that feel like a fake fight? Doesn't that feel like a stand-in fight? It's weird.
Well, yeah, usually those type of fights on your local MMA promotion that's just like, oh, well, let this guy fight. I don't know what we're doing here. This is the UFC. This is comedy.
Who the hell was the bookmaker that made this one? Because they're going to scare off people from betting Dean Barry, and everyone's going to, well, maybe they're going to try to take some action on Mike Jackson. But, man, this is a crazy line. It feels like a celebrity death match or something.
All right, so our first real fight is we've got Marcin Prachnio. He's 15-5, and he is fighting Philipe Lins, who's 14-5. Philipe Lins, he's a little bit older. He's 36. He has had 6 fights in a row canceled. Man, he won the PFL tournament. That was in 2018. Had a couple fights canceled. COVID comes along. And he's fighting Andrei Arlovsky and then Tanner Bozier within a month of each other. And then we have not seen him since 2020, so almost 2 years. Prachnio on the other side, he beat Ike Villanueva and Khalil Roundtree. He's got 3 losses before that. The time off, I'm assuming, is injury. Do you know if that was what it was?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Philipe Lins is actually good. He's actually he's a good fighter. He got caught by Bozier, but I think that was just Bozier loops those overhands to the back of the head. He looked good against Andrei Arlovsky. He is down to fight and throw down right there. Prachnio, what the hell is this guy?
What the hell?
He covers and wiggles and throws and kicks. He is we have some weird strikers on this card. We've got Dean Barry, we've got Prachnio, we've got Dwight
Grant.
What the hell is Dwight Grant and we've got a lot of weird strikers on this card, you guys. I don't know what the hell we're doing. I don't know if the UFC is like, shit, we got to fill a card. Let's throw a bunch of guys on here. Hopefully some of them lose so we can cut them. But Philipe Lins is a black belt. He's got good competition. Prachnio, oddly enough, he's won his last 2 fights, but Wave was swinging on him and catching him quite a bit.
Beating the hell out of him.
Yeah. I was actually shocked to see him win that fight. It was horrible until he caught him with that, was it a body kick? I have Philipe Lin's winning this by a landslide. And I mean, it's just weird that, and let's see, and he's even. Philipe Lin's is even.
Get
Prachnio is minus
out of here.
124. I mean, is it age? Is it an injury that I don't know about? I mean, I haven't researched the background of why he's been out for so long. If you guys know that background, let us know in the comments. You know, we might update some stuff. But I think Philipe Lins is just infinitely the better fighter here.
Wow, you really hit the nail on the head on this one. Man, I have been through a long road with Marcin. I have been through a long road with Marcin. I bet Khalil Roundtree against him. A lot of people thought Khalil won that fight, and then I bet on him. Terrified against Ike Villanueva, which is a scary feeling against Ike Villanueva to be terrified, and we're gonna get there, but he's just man, we have to be gentle with this, but he is just not good. It's it's really tough to see because the second he gets stalked, you're right, he covers and he shells up and he gets rocked every other fight. I mean, seeing as Sam Alvey melted him, and Sam Alvey hasn't won a fight in longer than I've been alive, and he melted Marcin. Let's see who else.
Well, but
Maga,
that one as well. The Not only does he cover up, but he looks terrified when people swing at him.
he should be. He's
It,
getting rocked with every punch.
yeah, and then I believe he's going up to heavyweight for this fight too, which is not going to help him.
No, this is a light heavyweight fight. It says
Okay, so is Philippe Lin's dropping in weight?
yes.
Okay, that makes a little bit more
Honestly, I
sense.
don't think that really changes much. So we were kind of talking about the Bozier fight, and most knockouts, and people don't realize this. Most knockouts happen when you're trying to kill somebody. It's not when you're in perfect position and you see the punch coming. It's when you're ready to unload. And in that Bozier fight, that's what Linz was trying to do. He was trying to unload on him, hit him with that big overhand, and he got caught a little bit quicker. The thing that makes me happy is it was behind the ear and it wasn't on the chin, which weirdly makes it a lot better for me. Flash knockout, got finished standing. It is what it is.
And
I
those
don't.
punches behind the ear, they wobble you. They wobble your equilibrium. I mean,
Yeah.
I know throughout my whole career, you could hit me with a baseball bat on the temple or on the jaw. You like lightly flick the back of my ear, and I'm spinning for 16 hours.
Yeah, and you can even watch in that fight. He stalks and he's patient. He sees things really well. He parries. I see a lot of much ado about these leg kicks. He checked a leg kick. He checked a couple leg kicks. Just because you don't do a full tie check doesn't mean you're not checking them. He's when people are throwing calf kicks, he was defending them fine. Plus, okay, Marcin, go ahead and throw your leg kicks, and then he's going to get decimated with these 1-2s, these big heavy hands. So I really, I really like Linz here. I heard much ado, kind of back and forth in our own Discord, and I'm like, okay, we'll see. Maybe it's going to be a really close fight on paper. And then watching film, I could be totally wrong, and the younger man could win. It could go down that way, but I don't really see Linz losing this fight.
Yeah, me neither. Let's move on. We've got actually our guy AQ. So we won't talk too much about this. And Cameron Else, um, AQ man, he was a 25er moving up to 35. Cameron Else came in, fought Kyler Phillips. Um, of course, I don't like to talk a lot about these guys, but man, AQ, he came in with Haley Alatong, who just fought last weekend and, knocked out Kevin Kroom, looked great. AQ was 25er coming up to 35, and he's 10 times the size of Haley. I mean, we've got a lot of 35ers in our gym. I think AQ is the biggest. I mean, I can't think of it. Maybe Casey Tanner might be bigger than him, but AQ is a big human. He throws hard. He's getting better at his head movement, and he's getting, his wrestling is infinitely better than when we met him. I can't wait for this fight. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But he's fighting. I'm not there this weekend. Actually, Balajin and Haley are cornering him with Eddie Cha, so they will go kill it up there in Vegas.
Hey, is Haley going to stick around in town for a little while?
Yeah, so Haley was, planning on going back to China after AQ's fight, but because he got out of there so quickly, he might end up staying around for another month or so and see if he can jump on a card last minute.
Good. I want to get some work in with him while he's here. Um, AQ's the man. AQ's huge. You know, the size thing is a big deal. I think he was killing himself making 25. I mean, when you walk in the gym, he spars with what 45ers all the time because everyone thinks he's a 45er. He's massive. I'm 5'7". I feel like I would be a big flyweight. He makes me look like an ant. He's huge. He is massive. He's strong. He knows what he's doing jiu-jitsu wise. I've trained with him a bunch, done a lot of cage wrestling with him. And honestly, all the work that I've done with him, I've actually been even more impressed with his fights. Uh, his head movement left a little bit to be desired, but he was still kind of pushing and pulling. He sees things well. He's got good long punches, and his wrestling really, really, really impressed me. Elsie, man, it's hard to take anything from a fight against Kyler Phillips because Kyler is definitely that good. So it is really hard to take something from that. But look at his record before. He's fighting nobodies. He's not really looking that impressive doing it. He's sloppy. He's all over the place. His wrestling is poor at best. Guys, do yourself a favor. I love AQ in this spot.
All right, you heard it there. We're moving. We are moving along. We've got Tyson Pedro and who we just spoke about, Ike Villanueva. And this is an interesting one too, just in the fact that Pedro is coming off of just a 4-year layoff. I mean, what the hell happened for a 4-year layoff? Do you know?
I hope it was something fun.
Yeah, I need to, I'm the worst at checking out layoffs and things like that. And I couldn't find his Instagram. The links I was clicking kept coming up with nothing. But, a 4-year layoff and he's still only 30 years old. He's a fast, dynamic striker who hits hard. But for as good as he is as a striker, man, does he like to get hit? Like it's almost like his guard. He holds it almost a little bit too much in front of his face, and every punch that is slightly looping goes around his arm and hit him in the head. And so I do like him. I like his striking. He's fast. He moves well, but I definitely worry about his chin. I don't know if I worry about his chin or just his defense in general, where there's something that he gets hit a little bit more than he should. We saw him with Shogun last. His cage wrestling, his wrestling in general is not phenomenal. Maybe that's where he's gone to Dagestan, has been working on his wrestling for the last 4 years,
Yeah.
hopefully. But on the other side of that, we have Ike Villanueva, who's 18 and 13. He is a boxer, and he is a walk forward boxer. That's it. He got in. I think he's one of the last. The UFC is starting to filter out the COVID fighters right now. And what I mean by that is a lot of people got in because there's so many fall offs during COVID that they needed replacement fighters. If you had a win on your record, you were in. And I think Ike Villanueva is a COVID guy. He's 1-4. I mean, outside of his boxing, and his boxing's not bad. His boxing is not bad, but he's okay with getting hit too much, and his chin doesn't like it. Let me see how old he is. I think he's 38. His chin is tested. He's going against a fast, dynamic kid. The only question here is, why was Tyson gone for 4 years, and how does he look after a 4-year layoff? I bet you he is going to come out guns blazing, and I think the easy bet, I mean, he's a big favorite, so if you don't want to bet Tyson here, bet the fight doesn't go the distance. These guys, neither of them have had a fight. Let me see. Villanueva, let's see. His last fight that has gone the distance was a split decision loss in 2017. And Tyson Pedro, his last was the same thing. 2017 decision to Ilir Latifi. And honestly, before that, that was it. So he has one decision out of all of his fights. Ike barely has not had a decision in a long time. Easy bet, I believe, is the fight does not go the distance. I think Tyson wins. But if you want to, sweeten it, depending on what book you're using, if you have Tyson wins inside the distance, see what odds that gives you. It's probably not going to go too much, but probably minus, 400 or minus 300 makes it a little bit of a better deal for you.
Yeah, this is one. Man, it's tough because when Tyson Pedro throws, he looks clean. He looks sharp. He's got an amazing body for light heavyweight. I mean, man, if I could have that body, again, I say this all the time, I wouldn't be here. If I was 6'3" and handsome and moves as well as he does, I mean, he doesn't look like a lot of light heavyweights. Look at Marcin Prachnio and then look at him. Pedro moves so well and he does everything so nicely. But the problem is he gets backed up all the time. And when he's getting backed up, he's getting hit. Well, the style that Ike likes to fight is pressure and moving forward and boxing and a little bit of box, a little bit of wrestle. It can this can be a tough one for Tyson. I think at the odds, I think they're probably justified just with their bodies and probably the power and any other number of factors. I think that's about right. The age, I think Tyson is going to get this done. I think he's going to figure it out. But man, I will probably be sweating this one. If he doesn't finish it in the first 2 minutes, ooh, you might be sweating it. I think we just got to trust the younger man. He's 30 years old, fighting what, 38-year-old, a guy who's 18-3, a little bit of fat. Um, it pains me to say I don't like the guys that can't wrestle and don't get up off their back and have cardio problems. It really pains me, but I think he gets it done here. I think he probably KOs I first
I
round or two.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this fight is a let's get rid of Ike fight. Let's shed the roster a little bit. He is a boxer. He does press forward, but his wrestling is not great. His jiu-jitsu is not great. He's going to go punching and swinging. But with that said, I always look at the fights before I look at the odds because I don't want the odds to sway me on who should win. And I was watching this, and before I looked at the odds, I was like, I mean, this is kind of a pick 'em, but I lean toward Tyson. Like he's a little bit better, but his cardio is not great. He gets hit a lot. It's going to be a slugfest, and I think his punches are a little bit faster, and his chin is a little bit better than Ike's. And then I saw the odds, and it was a huge sway. So, but before I saw him, I was not. And then I don't know. So I wouldn't. Not to say I wouldn't touch Tyson on this because I think, like you said, he should win this. But this is one of those ones where Ike could easily get an upset here because these guys just go out there swinging, and it's not like Tyson has some granite chin or is that good of a kickboxer defensively to avoid getting hit.
Exactly.
So,
Not defensively. When he's on offense,
yep,
he's sick. He's really nice.
yep,
But he let Shogun back him up the whole fight. And when he did land, man, he dropped him every single time he threw. And then he just completely gave up, and that was a wrap.
yep. So yeah, I like Tyson here, but it's definitely
With
risky. I
caution.
think. Yep, fight doesn't go the distance. I think is a much better, safer. That's what we got on that one, you guys. Oh, and just really quickly, let's throw those odds out because I said it was
550.
minus 550 for Pedro and plus 410 for Ike. At the time of filming. So next up, we have Dwight Grant and Sergey. Man, I don't even know how to say this name. Khandozhko or something like that. Man, you guys know I can't
Hey,
say
wait
names.
a minute. Wait a minute. I have a question. Who's the guy
Yeah,
that you have fighting this weekend?
R.
All right. All right. Fair
AQ.
enough.
That's
Not
what we
even going
call
to
him.
try.
AQ.
Yeah,
Aoriqileng.
not even going
I
to
can't even say his name. I can't say that my own guy's name, so we call him AQ because I
I think
can't
we
say
had a
his
lot
name.
of. I think we had a lot of hype. I think people's favorite part of the show is listening to you say the names, which is why I'm glad you introduced them. And
Oh,
there was a lot of hype this week about you trying to pronounce Aori's name, and
I'm
I'm here
smarter
for
than
it.
that. Haha, people. What you don't know is I'm going to nickname people when I have to speak to them. Anyway, we got Dwight Grant coming up and Sergey, whatever the hell his last name is. And this is another, like, God, just pair of weird, awkward strikers. You have Dwight Grant, who is tall and long and rangy. And I'm sorry, you people. I'm sorry for all of you, or any of you, or if you have a family member who I'm about to offend. But he looks like he has Parkinson's. He is just shaking and wobbling around and throwing. And I'm like, this dude is like my great, great, great uncle who doesn't even know what his own name and can't control his body. Like, he's so awkward. And I mean, he's effective. Like, come on, he's fine, but he does gas a little bit. He's not overly coordinated. And then on the other side, you have Sergey, who his last fight, and this fight was a while ago as well, was Rustam Khybilov. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. That was 2019, so that's 3 years ago. He had one fight in the UFC before that, and then he's coming off a couple year layoff. And his last couple of fights, he looks like he knows how to strike, okay? Like, you see him move in before he starts punching, okay? Let me clarify that. So you see him move in, he looks like a striker, all right? He throws the spinning back kicks. It's like, oh, okay, we're moving. And then he throws punches. And then he is so far away. It's like me trying to punch you through the monitor wherever you are right now, 20 miles away. Like, just swings, and he has these little tiny T-Rex arms, and the guys are like in the middle of the cage and he's up against the fence. I mean, he is so awkward with his boxing that I really don't get. I mean, even the fight, his UFC debut, he won. But man, that was such an. I feel like he won because his opponent was so bad, not because he was so good. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's awkward for being a striker, for having that be your bread and butter. He's definitely a much better kicker than he is a puncher. Um, on the other side of that, we have Dwight, who is 37. He's a little older. There's a lot to be desired, and I really I have to pick Sergey on this, and here is why. So you guys don't take too much stock in this.
No. Take some stock in this one because this is a better spot.
So Sergey, he's had some time off. He's at is he at Syndicate or Extreme Couture? I think he's at Extreme Couture. And I saw some video recently of him. I'm cyber stalking him, and he looks much cleaner punches. He's throwing better. I'm assuming the time spent at Extreme is going to help quite a bit. And I just think that the younger, better version of the guy we saw a couple years ago is going to come out, and Dwight Grant is just going to kind of fizzle out after 4 minutes and then just get outworked.
Man, this to me is probably one of the better spots too. We kind of talked about this as being like a weeding out card, like Ike Villanueva the fight before this. Dwight Grant's got to be on the way out too. Man, Dwight is not good. Man, he is just not good. And when you say awkward striking, you're being very kind. The guy has got 3 left feet. He's constantly crossing his feet over each other. He's winging wild punches. I think, they would always say he trains at AKA. I don't think he's ever been to AKA. I don't think he knows the address of the gym at AKA. And I'm being like serious. Like, I don't think he actually goes and trains there every day. I think he does, like, he's into anime and does stuff in his garage. I remember betting against him when he fought in Jacksonville against Stefan Sekulic. Stefan has lost almost all his fights outside of the UFC since then. Well, he went 2-2 outside the UFC since then. Stefan's fine. Stefan is solid. He's definitely a more talented fighter than Dwight Grant. I thought he ran through Dwight Grant, and he still gave Dwight the decision. He's been 3 out of his last 4 fights are all split decisions with old Francisco Trinaldo. Is that who it was? Trinaldo?
I think he missed an old, though, too.
Oh, I mean, he's a dinosaur, and he's going split with him. He's supposed to be the power guy. That's the whole thing. Oh, he dropped D-Rod. He's supposed to be the power guy. He's just awkward. People are going to get hurt from him by not understanding his timing. Anybody with a hint of a takedown, a hint of a jab, a hint of defense is going to win this. And I've been waiting for somebody remotely competent to fade Dwight Grant. And here is the perfect spot, guys. We have a 29-year-old Russian training at Extreme Couture that moves well, moves like a boxer, kickboxer, who's decent enough, guys. What more do you want out of this one? This guy's got 3 left feet. He doesn't really want to be fighting. He's fought more in the last year than he has his entire UFC career combined. So clear money push before he retires. Guys, don't overthink this one. I like the Russian a lot here.
All right, there you have it. Next up, we've got Jordan Wright and Marc-Andre Barriault. Why don't you lead us on this? Because I know, 1, I led the last 27. And then 2, I know you love some MAB.
All right, guys. It's time. It is time to get back on the MAB train. It's time. we have been around the world. I think since we've been doing this show, I think Jordan Wright has fought maybe 2 or 3 times, and Mab has fought twice, I believe. He won one, he lost one, and that last one, I think. I love MAB, and I think I said this, and maybe we both said this. Like, we like him. We weren't sure how he was going to beat Cheaty, but we felt confident. Not confident. We felt like he could beat Cheaty. Like deep waters, that's his whole thing.
I think I
No,
called
you
Cheaty on
picked
that one.
Cheaty. Yeah,
I
you
picked
did.
Cheaty on that one.
And the thing that I'm learning this year in particular, guys, when you're not sure how somebody has a path to victory, but you're like, I just feel like they're going to figure it out and get away. That is not something to bet on, because anybody with eyes could have seen that Cheaty was way more explosive, dynamic. He hits hard. He did a lot of things well. And that fight didn't last very long, but it went exactly. If you had to drop Cheaty's game plan on how he's going to beat MAB, it was going to be within the first round, check, with dynamic, explosive punches. Boom, everything is done. So now we're presented with this matchup. Okay, we have MAB, who prior to that has been known for cardio, for a good chin, for pressure. He gets redemption. He gets redemption here. Here we go. He gets to fight Jordan Wright, who is amongst the worst guys in the UFC. Probably Dwight Grant's in there, and Dean Barry and Mike Jackson. But people are wowed by Jordan Wright's all over the placeness. He's throwing crazy loopy things, the Beverly Hills Ninja. The second that a fight becomes a fight, Jordan Wright melts. He melts. I mean, the look in his eyes against Joaquin Buckley was terrifying. I mean, he looked like he was walking out to the guillotine to get sliced. It was horrible, right? And then he fights Bruno Silva. Had a moment. Again, he's so awkward, and he will throw anything. And he had his moment. He clipped him once, and then he got put to sleep. What was his Contender Series fight? That one was horrific.
Oh, who was that?
Anthony Hernandez.
Yes.
Who weirdly has a similar style to MAB. It's kind of that pressure forward. I got a good chin, good cardio. I'm going to just drive into you. And he put him on death's door. So the second that a fight becomes a fight, guys, I'm going to take MAB. I'm going to take the guy who's more solid, trains at Sanford, prior to had a granite chin. The way that I look at it, guys, he just before this beat Dalcha, who's got more power and explosion than Dalcha, right? I don't think that Jordan is better or more explosive or quicker than Dalcha is. Cheaty is the fastest out of all of them, and he did exactly what he needed to do. I like MAB, and I think you guys are getting a bargain here. This is going to be the fight to put Jordan Wright out of the UFC.
Yeah, minus 170. MAB, I'm surprised he's not a bigger favorite. And, I think they have Jordan Wright at plus 137. I think the reason for that is
that first round.
Yep, yeah. That Cheaty, not even the first round, the first minute of the first round, first 2 minutes. And if Jordan Wright is going to win, it's going to be a Cheaty situation. That's how he wins all of his fights. He's going to go out there and blitz and do his thing. And if he tries to not do that, he's not going to win anyway. That's his only path to victory. So he's got to go out there. He's got to swing. He's got to be dynamic. He's got to hope that he can win. And again, now with MAB, he's just got to be careful for that first little bit. He's got to let the fight develop. Don't get into a slugfest the first minute or two with Jordan Wright.
And he loves a slugfest.
Yep. Take your time. Grab Wright, clinch him a little bit, or just stay on the outside. Stay on the outside circle. Stay on the outside circle. When Jordan Wright comes in to go full on Super Saiyan, grab his ass, push him against the fence, hang on him. And MAB has such a good clinch. He's got such a good dirty boxing game. He's good in there. He would be very, he would find some good success staying away and then wrapping him up, staying away, wrapping him up in the first minute to 3 minutes. Then after that, he can kind of do what he wants because Jordan Wright doesn't want to be there anyway. But he's got to be careful. I think at minus 170, I think that's a solid pick. And the other pick is that the fight doesn't go the distance. Jordan Wright has never had a fight go the distance. This isn't going to be the one that's going to go the distance.
Beautiful. So. I think that's well put. That's a good way to cover your ass, is doing one of two things. Bet on MAB and then hedge with the first round Jordan Wright KO, or fight doesn't go to distance, I think that covers both because the second it becomes a fight, Jordan Wright's going to melt or he's going to catch MAB. Great call on that one. I think there was something else I wanted to say, but now I don't remember.
Um,
Oh, just don't put it in like guys. The recipe is really simple here. Do I think MAB is going to win? Yes, clear as day. I think he's going to win. For me, he's the much, much, much better fighter. Not even close. But when the possibility of that KO exists, maybe don't put your serious, serious, serious money on it. Put it in something kind of middle tier or maybe a longer shot. But don't put the whole mortgage on this one.
yeah, I think you're right. Next up, I want you to lead with this because I know you love Jordain as well. We've got Charles Jordain and Lando Vannata. Um, and this is contested at 145. So Lando is going down. It's a 145-pound fight. What do you think about Jordain, the Frenchman, well, French Canadian with Lando Vannata, who both are phenomenal in their own right?
Yeah, you know me. I love Charles Jourdain now. I think it's funny because we've been through a couple of cycles with Jourdain also. And the first one, I was like, man, this guy sucks. His IQ is horrible. He's awful. He's gonna lose. Or I don't even know if I said all that, but just didn't love him. Just didn't love him. And then he put on an amazing showing, and then he created a fan out of me, and he looks awesome. Now he's going against Lando Vannata, who actually put on one of my favorite performances of all time. We talked about it against Mike Grundy where he just looked lights out. There was nothing that guy couldn't do. He took down Mike Grundy, defended every takedown, looked great, great, great on the feet. And I think where Lando struggles, first of all, the size, at 55, he's not a 55er. He's tiny. So now that that's under control, hold on, let's take a look at this record. Lando Vannata, 12, 5, and 2. He beat Yancey. He lost to Bobby Green. Diakese. Okay. So Lando Vannata, I think what gives him trouble is he has trouble leading the dance. He's not high enough volume and he's not accurate enough to lead the dance. He is a counterpuncher through and through and through. And the part that's tripping me up, I want to love Jordain here because Jordain's my guy. He's high volume. His hands are glued to his face. He kicks well. I love a lot of things about Jordain. But what I worry here is that Lando is by far the better counterpuncher and probably the more well-rounded fighter. I think he can take Jordain down at will if he wants to. I think he can defend takedowns. He's just one of those game dudes. He reminds me of like Victor Henry in his fight against Raoni. Just wherever the fight goes, I'm going to beat you up anywhere it goes. I really like. I don't really like Lando here. I lean Lando big time here, and it pains me to say because I love Jordain so much. But I think his volume is going to get him counterpunched.
The thing that I think the difference is here is Jordain takes turns striking. He will cover and then return. He doesn't generally exchange in the pocket with somebody as they throw. And to beat Vannata, he has such good head movement and such good footwork and such good rhythm that you cannot let him rock away, lead the footwork dance, and then try and play tag with him. You've got to do what Bobby Green did, and you got to fight fire with fire. And Jordain covers high, he leaves his body open, and then he attacks back. I don't think that's going to work with Vannata, and so I see Vannata outstriking him. Then is Jordain going to wrestle Vannata? I mean, that would go horribly. I mean, Vannata would completely out wrestle him. He wrestled in high school, wrestled a year in college. He has beautiful wrestling defense. He took down Bobby Green. Bobby Green won that fight. I thought, but there was a lot of really close moments, and when he
Yep.
dropped Bobby Green, when have you seen that? Other thing Lando does really well is he catches kicks. He catches kicks and he swings off of them, and that is going to mess with Jordain a little bit. I really like Lando Vannata here. My worry, and this is my worry. This is my worry. I'm not saying this taking anything away. I do think Vannata wins this fight, and I still like him here. My worry about this is he's dropping weight, and we have not seen people drop weight and have a lot of success lately. I mean, we saw it with Cody Garbrandt, knocked out. We saw it with Dan Hooker, knocked out again. And I think at 55, he is a little undersized in height and everything, but he's got, he has a little fat on him. If you look at his Instagram, he looks a little Skeletor-ish, and that worries me. I don't like to see people that skinny. Not in their body, but in their face, in their skull. I remember when
Yeah.
TJ Dillashaw fought Henry Cejudo, and he came down to 25 for that fight. And I remember just TJ was chewing gum, and I could see the veins in the back of his head, and it was like, dude, there's not enough fluid in your body right now. I don't think Vannata looks that bad, in terms of skinny wise, but that's what worries me here is a chin. Are there issues, stuff like that? I think Vannata's a better fighter. I think Vannata wins this, but that is my worry, is the weight cut. We haven't seen Vannata at 45. How does that go?
We have seen Vannata at 45.
Have we?
Mike Grundy.
Oh, I thought, oh, gosh, for some reason I was thinking that was at 55. All right, disregard everything I said, you guys. Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Disregard
That's
that.
why I'm back.
Yeah, I was thinking gosh, I was thinking Grundy was at 55 for some reason. I mean, Americani just
Nope.
fought him.
That was the entire thing, was how good that Lando Vannata looked at 45, his real weight class where he should have always been. He got hit with a couple bombs in that fight by Grundy, said, whatever. His cardio looked insane. Like, that is just probably where he should have been the whole time.
The whole career. Gosh, I'm an idiot. For some reason, I was rewatching that fight, and it did not even occur to me that I was at 45. For some reason, I was thinking him and Americani fought at 55, but Americani's a 45er. So, yeah, I think, all right, scratch that. Lando wins this, man. Bet the house. Bet the house.
Oh, jeez.
Bet the house. I love
right.
Lando on this one.
All right. Next up, we got Mudaerji versus Manel Kape.
So this fight, and first of all, I'm glad you said that name, this fight,
I messed it up too. It's okay.
I spent the most time on. I watched everything I could watch of both of these guys, and
wow,
I am still so up in the air on this
the
one.
fence.
Like,
yes,
I cannot get a read, and here's
Can
why.
I give you mine and you tell me where you're at?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've been back and forth. And first of all, these are two studs. These are two top level flyweights. I mean, these guys are freaking good, both of them. I would say that not even close, Kape has fought the better competition. Not even close. Fought the way, way, way better competition. Now, Tszyu has looked more impressive in the fights that he has won. The other thing too, and this is why it was such a hard read for me, is because the styles are all so different. Both these guys are kind of used to being the taller, rangier, more in and out fighters, especially Tszyu. Tszyu's 5'8", 5'9". He's a tall kid, and he's always fought guys way shorter than him. Now, Manel's 5'5", so it's not a big deal. But Manel has only fought people that charge forward. He's never fought somebody who fights on the outside. He fought Pantoja, who's head down, I'm going to walk forward. He fought Zalgas, who same exact style. So we have two guys that are zipping in and out counter strikers, and we have no idea how this is going to go because they've never fought a style like each other before. And the way that I was looking at it is, I hear Cormier talk about Manel's headspace all the time. He's always talking about his lack of dedication and the weight cut and this and this and this. I think Tszyu is freaking amazing. I think Tszyu is so good. He gets hit with bombs every once in a while. He'll get caught, and for me, if Tszyu doesn't get caught, he wins that fight, outpointing him. Beautiful jab, great movement, great counter wrestling. I think Tszyu wins if he doesn't get caught, but if Kape can put him in a corner, now it's lights out, and I have a really tough time catching an edge in this fight.
I think a lot of what you said is exactly what I'm thinking. And I think the more that we've seen Tszyu, the better he's gotten at counterpunching and the better his takedown defense. He was at American Top Team for this fight, and he's got, just high level.
They said he went to go work with the Dags, like legitimately went to go work with Dagestanis on wrestling.
Yeah, there's pictures of him in Russia and I think Belarus maybe. I think so, on Instagram, and then he's doing most of his camp at ATT. But even beforehand, even when you watch him with Luis Smolka back in the day, I mean, Smolka's not a great wrestler. He's crafty with his jiu-jitsu and stuff, but he's scrappy. But even back then, before Tszyu was even remotely decent at grappling, he was still scrambling and doing a lot of stuff well in certain moments. Okay, so it wasn't complete fish out of water. Kape on the other side, he is, I believe he's at Syndicate for this camp. And that alone makes me a little hesitant. You have Syndicate versus American Top Team. The guy who he's training with up at Syndicate versus ATT. The other thing here is if you look at, I'm pulling it up really quickly, Kape's last fight, not last fight, against Odie Osborne. All right. So, I mean, of course he won 444 of round one. All right. I thought Osborne was mildly getting the better of that fight beforehand, and not. I mean, Manel was landing some shots. What I mean by that is he had a hard time with the rhythm, and Osborne's a little bit taller. He's 5'7", a little bit more rangier, and he's nowhere near the striker that Sue is. But Kape had a hard time finding that range and finding that rhythm. And again, eventually he did find it, and he got the flying knee. I don't think he's going to get a flying knee on Sue. He got on Osborne. Osborne's a wrestler. You feint him, you throw hard, he's going to start level changing, ducking. Boom, that's what happened. I want to like Manel here for how good he is, for how good his head movement is, for how good his footwork is. I mean, it's all beautiful. But if people don't press him, he will show some inactivity. And Sue is not a volume striker. Sue is a touch and move and touch and move. And I think you hit it on the head. If Manel cannot get him out of there and put him in a corner, now it is a smaller cage, 25-foot cage at the apex versus a large.
Smaller people. He's 125 pounds.
Yep, exactly. So I don't want to touch this. I want Manel to win. I think Manel is the better fighter, and it would not surprise me if Sue won just based off range and skill. If they were the same height, Manel wins this, I think, every day. You give somebody a three.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you give somebody a 3-inch reach advantage, and they both kind of have face out, draw you in, head movement, roll. Like, yes. And so I would not be surprised to see Sue win kind of a almost frustrating decision. Like, Kape is almost landing, almost there, and almost pressing. And honestly,
and can't catch him.
Yep, can't catch him. I honestly, I think Kape's easiest path to victory is to wrestle Sue and use his jiu-jitsu, which is actually decent.
And then I think Kape gets tired, and then he gets picked apart by Sue later on. The more we talk about this, the more that I like Sue.
Yeah, it's not a bad bet. I worry about this one because I think it's a fight that could go the craziest in so many ways. Sue's an underdog at plus 144. If you're on the fence with Sue and you're thinking, I want to bet him, then bet him. And if you're on the fence with Manel, I would say don't. Like, not don't bet him. I'm saying if you're like, nope, I love Manel here, then bet Manel. But if you're wondering if you should bet Manel or not, I think this conversation would kind of go, I might be as worried as them, maybe not. But then Sue, again, if you're like, man, I don't know if I should bet Sue or not, I think it's a decent bet. I'm not telling you to bet one way or the other, but if you're on the fence with either of them, I think that'll kind of lead you there.
All right, what's up next?
Let's see, Maycee Barber and Montana De La Rosa. And we've got Barber is up at alpha male, 9-2, and Montana De La Rosa is, I think she's now at elevation, and she's 12-6. Montana is, I think they said that she was a 2-time state champion wrestler and maybe nationally ranked or whatever. Well, good for you. I mean, she looked good against Ariane Lipsky, who I think Ariane's family growing up must have told her that if she ever wrestles in life, the boogeyman will come out of her bed or, out from under her bed. Because, I mean, for as much as Ariana's striking is great, I love it. And even her jiu-jitsu is not bad. Her wrestling is just not good. And her ability to get back up is just not good. Montana got on top, and that was it. That was that. Montana's striking is so awkward, and it's so clumsy. And we talk about this all the time. The physicality of women, very, very, very big predictor of who's going to win. And Maycee Barber is physical. She is strong. She hits hard, But not only does she hit hard, she hits well. Her striking is good. Her distance is good. She is fast and dynamic. She grew up doing this, and she's at Team Alpha Male. And she's there all the time. They're cage wrestling all of the time. I think unless Montana can just really drown Maycee Barber with the wrestling and cage wrestling and get her down, and maybe Maycee is a little overconfident and gives up her back trying to get back up. Maybe something like that. But watching Maycee fight Miranda Maverick last, and Maverick blast doubled her, got her down. Maycee kept the whizzer, came back up, fought it hard. That was really impressive. Her ability to go. And what was most impressive is that Miranda was one who got tired during all of those wrestling exchanges, not Maycee Barber. And I think Maycee is going to be able to find her way off of the cage, avoid the boring, static movements in the clinch that are going to favor Montana De La Rosa. And I think it's going to be kind of a one-sided affair in favor of Maycee Barber.
I could not agree with you anymore because man, it's hard. What's really cool about our Discord is we get a lot of guys with a lot of great opinions, and sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. I know last week we had two guys, one very confident in Baeza, one in Fialho. And one person was very happy, one person not so happy. And this week, I'm going to have to be split with some people because I see a lot of De La Rosa love, a lot of it. And people like to fade fighters because they don't like them, because of Maycee's whole shtick in the future and all this stuff. And because she's looked vulnerable in the past, right? To Modafari, to a couple of these people. I don't think this fight is close at all. I can't believe the kind of gift we're getting with Maycee Barber here. And the more people that love Montana De La, is that Montana?
Yeah.
Montana De La Rosa, even better because her striking is non-existent. She's a scared puppy striking. She gets backed up in every single fight. And lucky for her, her last couple of fights have been against Brazilians that fall in love with their own jiu-jitsu, that refuse to get up, that don't care to stand, right? And she's been able to win. Well, against Bueno Silva, she won a round and then a point deduction. And then against Ariana, she finished her, right? Good for her. She got some great matchups, girls who will not get off their back and will not wrestle. But the thing about Maycee is kind of like we were talking about with Kape and Sue. She does the same thing. She's dipping in and out. She's throwing power and she's back out. I remember that Miranda Maverick fight going a lot different. I thought Miranda mauled her. And really, that wasn't the case until kind of the last bits of the round, right? And you're exactly right. She did the right thing. The second she got taken down, she was looking to stand up. And that's actually what got her back taken, was trying to stand up. I don't think Montana's actually got that great of cardio. A couple failed attempts, and now she's shooting from halfway across the cage. This, to me, is probably one of my favorite spots on the card. I love this spot. I think Maycee, you don't have to love her, guys, but I love her if she makes me some money. I think it's one-way traffic on the feet. I think she's way too strong. I think after one round, these shots are coming from the next planet. And I think, she looked bad, or she looked like vulnerable against Miranda Maverick, who is more physical than Maycee Barber. Montana is not that. So to me, guys, I don't know. This is a don't overthink it. This is Maycee Barber by a mile.
Yeah, I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. And man, it's funny. We're already up to the co-main event because we've had so many fights fall off the card. We've got Clay Guida and Claudio Puelles. And,
Actually, no, we have Romanov and Sherman.
Romanov and Sherman. Whoa. Man, this must have just gotten added to Tapology because I've been
not 10 minutes ago. This was all day today. So refresh your page.
No, I did. I refreshed my page like 30 times today, and I did not see Chase Sherman at all. Well,
no, he's right
man, there he is. I'm gonna have to watch some tape on this. I don't want to give you guys a bad read. I don't even know. I know I've seen.
You don't. Oh really? Oh really? You don't know? Oh really? You don't know?
Really? He's getting thrown down and beaten up. But
come on, really? You don't know?
But
I don't even like Romanov. I don't even like Romanov. And I always go to bat for Chase Sherman, and I have some kind of weird faith that he's going to figure it out and he's going to win, and he's this cardio king, and he gets destroyed every time. Really? You don't know on this one?
Well, I mean, I know, but I
I
don't want to say it
know.
so confidently without watching tape and looking at stuff
Come
because I
on.
do
Come
think
on.
styles make fights, and so I don't. Again, Romanov should win this, but just know you guys.
Chase just got taken down and finished by Jake Collier
Yeah,
in the first round. Fat Jake Collier. I think Romanov is fatter. And okay, if Chase was cardio king, we might be having a conversation here. But he throws ninny punches standing,
you
little
just say
baby bare
ninny.
knuckle
Wait, did you
punches.
say ninny punches?
Yes, throws little ninny bare knuckle punches, and he gets taken down easily. He's got no chin. Man, I don't even like Romanov. I was gonna bet Bozer in that fight, and I don't think Bozer is a world beater either, please by any means. But man, Romanov, guys, come on. Romanov's aside here. It's not close. Short notice. He just got cut last week. Now they just brought him back. Do we really think he has a chance? Are we going to try to play this game where we're convincing ourselves again that Chase Sherman has a shot? He just lost to Jake Collier. What could have been a better fight? Jake Collier's got one round of gas, and that's about it. And he lost that one.
All
Come
right. Well,
on.
there
He
you
got
heard it. There
dominated.
you heard it. Do you know? Have you seen odds on this yet?
Uh, let's refresh. I don't know. I don't think so yet. It's gonna be like minus
Yeah,
800.
Romanov was like
So
minus.
if you're feeling like you don't want to bet
Yeah,
it,
Romanov
but
was minus 500, minus 550, or something like that against Bozier. But all right. Well, now we're at our co-main event. We've got Clay Guida, Claudio Puelles.
I gotta watch film. Come on, what is wrong with you? Chase Sherman.
I couldn't even tell you. Man, it's so funny. Once I watch film, though, I don't even. I couldn't even tell you. I'm looking at his record now, and I'm like, man, I don't remember a single one of these fights. Yeah,
Of Sherman's.
yeah. So I'm sure I've seen him fight. Probably was he 15-9? I've probably seen most of those fights, and I still couldn't tell you like how any single one of his fights has gone without looking at film of him.
Not well. He's like 3-15 in the UFC. So
All right, so for the 20th time, our co-main event, uh, Clay Guida, Claudio Puelles. Man, this is a weird one because Claudio Puelles is 4-0 in the UFC. I believe, no, 4-1 in the UFC. I'm sorry. He's got a knee bar win, a decision win against Marcos Mariano, beat Jordan Levitt by decision, Chris Gritzmacher by knee bar. You know me. You know my Claudio Puelesine. I am so underwhelmed with him, and he just finds a way to win. Like, even against Grits, like, I mean, there was some closeness in there, but like Grits was just in his face, swinging and moving, and then he caught that knee bar. And I wouldn't have been, gosh, like I just in that in the other knee bar win that he has against, Philipe Silva, he was
amazing.
just getting murdered. Like that was such a bad performance, and then he pulls a knee bar out of his ass. But even the Grits one, he goes for a knee bar, and Grits like looks at him, and then he starts locking the knee bar up, and Grits just keeps looking at him. And then Grits almost like straightens his leg more, like, here, let me help you with that. I mean, just did not defend it at all. Puelles' cardio is something to be desired. His offensive wrestling, I am very underwhelmed with. His defensive wrestling is good in some moments. Like you see him sometimes.
He's a good counter wrestler.
Yes,
Yeah.
he hits that butt drag, truck series, comes up on top. I really like some of that stuff, but then he tends to fade, and he's very dynamic early, and then he fades a little bit, and it's almost like he starts off well. The middle is gassing and looking horrible, and then he's like, "Oh man, I got to find a way to win this," and he does. On the other side of that, you've got Clay Guida, who is coming off a really good win over Leo Santos, and I remember that fight happening. I had money on Leo. I just thought Leo was the better fighter, and I didn't think cardio would.
He was for 2
Yeah, he
minutes.
was. Well, he punched himself out badly. But I remember Guida almost dying in that and then surviving. And then as I rewatched it, I actually don't think Guida was. I think it was a body shot that hurt Guida, and then Leo Santos came in and rocked him a little bit, but I don't think Guida was ever on death's door on that one. And Guida, we know his cardio is good. He's always going to keep moving. I I am leaning Guida on this one, and the only reason that I worry about this is, of course, Guida is like 40 years old, but Guida is Guida, and he has 21 losses. He's 37-21. So he is not, but I mean, he beat Leo Santos, lost a decision to our guy Mark Madsen. Then he beat Michael Johnson right before
Split.
that, and then lost to Bobby Green. And I thought he won that Bobby Green fight. Like it was close, it was very close, but I think I would have given it to Guida, and you could give it either way. Um, but if Bobby Green isn't beating you up and knocking you out, I don't think Puelles is. And I think Puelles' path to victory is maybe catching a knee or almost like
A
yeah,
guillotine.
that's exactly it. A guillotine on his way in some of those positions. Roger Huertain, where Guida's just mauling him for 2.5 rounds, then he catches a knee to the face and then gets finished. I think Puelles has to get lucky here to win this, but Guida's old, and a lot of people have gotten lucky and beaten Guida because for as tough as he is, predictable, and he will do the same thing in minute 1 that he will in minute 14, and people see that and they end up kind of finding a way. But the real telling thing here was the Jordan Levitt fight, where I mean, he's not putting Levitt away, who was on death's door cardio wise against him in round 3. And I don't know, I'm very underwhelmed with Puelles. I'm not like I think he needs like a hat trick to win this, and I think his cardio is something to be desired. I don't love this spot on a betting sense because I think Guida should win, and I think Guida could very easily get caught. And there's so many other good fights on this card, and there's so many other fights this weekend that I think are just more predictable spots.
I am with you 10,000%. If somebody could tell me Claudio Puelles' game plan before, I'd feel way more comfortable making this bet. If it is to shoot on if it's to shoot on Guida, I hate it. If it's to try to grapple with Guida, I hate it. Any kind of grappling. If it is to strike with him, beautiful. I love it. That's a max bet for me because Puelles' striking is not bad. It's really, really decent. I like the work that he's been doing at Sanford. His body kicks are nice. His jab's nice. His striking is solid. And the fact that he is so scared of his own striking, like he's scared of his own shadow, that he feels the need to wrestle horribly, mind you, so bad that even DC, who has to be really nice to all the fighters, in the middle of the fight was just talking about how horrific it is and then correcting the other announcers to let them know, no, this is bad, 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 bad wrestling. That's horrible. I have always gone to bat for Claudio Puelles. I picked him in the Grits fight. I have picked him in a bunch of fights. I have always gone to bat for him. And this seems like such a bad matchup. And I think you're right. He has to get lucky. And the way that I could see this going, I wish I could know Clay Guida's game plan too. I mean, if we're just looking from a cardio fight IQ perspective, easily Clay Guida. That's an easy win for Clay Guida. Cardio, fight IQ. He can do enough to hang around on the feet. He's busy enough. He's got a good chin. Like all those things, the wrestling goes to Guida. Our betting Bible would say Guida. The thing that I can see is Guida going for a takedown and Puelles hitting that truck series and finding his back and finishing him. And that's the part that really, really scares me. And you're right. He's got a lot of losses. Puelles is the opposite. Not that many losses and always finds ways to win. Guida has got a lot of losses. And although he's looked better as of late, a lot of guillotines, a lot of jiu-jitsu losses. So I really don't know how to play this one. I could see this ending in one round. I could see it going to decision. I could see Puelles. I could see Guida. Like, man, I don't know. I think the way that I'm going to approach this is if I have a good Friday and Saturday elsewhere, like on Bellator and early in this card, maybe I'll have some fun and I'm going to throw down on Guida.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I like the over 1.5 here. I don't think Guida's going to get caught early. I think it will be he gets predictable and gets caught if he does get caught. If he doesn't, I think he wears Puelles out. and ends up winning a decision, or maybe something in the third round. But Guida's not much of a finisher these days for the most part. Um, and yeah, I think you said it with Puelles. His striking is really good. I do like it, but it's what I said earlier. He starts fast and then he kind of fades and then he tries to hat trick it. But he's fast with his striking, which is good. And then at some point he gets uncomfortable with it, and then he starts grappling. And the grappling is where he gets tired, and the grappling is where he ends up on his back, and the grappling is where he ends up losing.
And that's supposed to be his bread and butter, and it's the worst part of his
Yes, and I
game.
don't get it. And his striking is clean. He's got, like you said, a good middle kick, fast hands, a good stance, brings his hands back, a good guard, all of the stuff that you like to see in a striker, except for the confidence to strike. Man, next up, we've got our main event. We've got Lemos. We've got Andrade, who is dropping back down to strawweight on this. And 5 rounds. I think 5 rounds alone just favors Andrade, who has good cardio and is used to going 5 rounds. Whereas you've got Lemos, who got a little tired in her Angie Hill fight, but that was a wild fight. I think anybody's going to be tired after 3 rounds with Angie at that pace. Um, I said it earlier. I love Lemos' striking. She is. If you guys ever, there's a movie. Do yourself a favor and go watch. It's called Shadow Boxers, and I don't remember if it's plural or singular. It's Shadow Boxers, Shadow Boxers. It's about female boxing in kind of later '90s, early 2000s, stuff like that. And they followed Lucia Riker around. And if you guys don't know who Lucia Riker is, I mean, she's just amazing. Actually, she was the bad girl in Million Dollar Baby. She's the girl that she fought at the end, her nemesis. But anyway, before that, watching women fight, I was always like, wow, women fight like women. They throw their punches like women. Their bodies move differently. Like I'd never seen a woman throw a man punch. And then I watched Lucia Riker and I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't say that to be sexist. I just say that to be like, I just never seen a woman who had that physical ability to move like a man. And I watched Lucia Riker and I was just wowed, like, oh my gosh, she is real. So go watch that. It talks about her and some other women boxers, but that was the first time I saw that. When a Lemos fight, it's of course I've seen other women with great striking since then. When I watched her first fight back at 115 pounds, because she fought in the UFC at 135, she lost, took 2 years off, comes back at 115 pounds. Holy hell, she is amazing. She hits like a man. She is fast. She is explosive. She does all of the stuff that you would expect any good fighter to do, whether man, woman, child, beast, it doesn't matter. And she throws with hate. And she at 115 pounds, I would not spar her like without some solid headgear on, like because she would knock me out any day of the week. She is amazing. Her wrestling is not bad. She's very physical. And a couple times she ended up on her back with Angie Hill, and she is bridging and creating scrambles and coming back up on top. She's not settling for bottom. I really like her. Manages distance well, punches straight down the middle. Again, with Angie Hill, I mean, that front kick, like 3 or 4 times right up the middle, landed, dropped her. I love her. I love her. I love her. On the other side of that, of course, we have Andrade. And Andrade is not bad. I don't believe Andrade is better anywhere than Lemos. But she is a tank and she is a brick shithouse. And she comes and she just swings. And as I'm watching tape, one of the announcers, might have been Rogan, said she reminds me of a young Vanderlei Silva, just swinging left hook, left hook, just in your face going, nothing but power. And that's true. And this really comes to, can Lemos handle the power and the physicality of Andrade? And will she get too tired if the pace is too crazy early? And I think so. And the reason is, I think, first of all, Andrade has had a lot of success in that power swinging craziness up at 125. She's dropping back down to 115. And she has not been a power puncher knockout artist at 115. I mean, I think Carolina she knocked out, and I think that's it. And Carolina was a scared child in there. Um, and I know Valentina's Valentina, so you've got to be a little bit more tempered with your approach to her. But she was very cautious, and she didn't rush in because I think she knows like she will swing. And Andrade is good at going and swinging and pressing people backwards. And I don't know that she wants to do that with Lemos. I think she's going to lose those striking battles with Lemos, especially with the height. I think that front kick is going to come up and it is going to hit her. And that beautiful jab is going to hit her. She's got to make this a dogfight, and she's got to make it a grappling affair to tire Lemos out. Um, I think the smart money here is Andrade. She's been there. She's done it. She's durable. I slightly like Lemos for as a dog here. I don't even know if it's a smart bet. I don't even know if I really believe that. I think I want to believe that Lemos is going to win. I don't know if I do. I think she has a very good shot of winning. I like her as a dog. I like her as a fighter. And I think she has all of the tools to beat Andrade.
I'm with you 100%. And this might be one of the first weeks that I think every single pick is lined up. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have been every single pick together on this one. Um, Lemos is good, man. She is good. She's freaking good. And again, conventional wisdom is the cardio. I don't even know if you'd say fight IQ, just kind of the cardio, the dog fight of Andrade is going to win. But I think this is Vegas setting you up for like setting people up for failure here. This is their cash cow. This fight, everyone saw how tired Lemos got in the last fight, so they're going recency bias and how good that Andrade has looked. People forget how good Lemos' hands are. They are unbelievable. And with these wide, crazy hooks, in an exchange, I trust Lemos' hands to get there before Andrade's hands. I just do. I expect her to be, well, how tall are they?
5'5" and
Andrade
5'1".
is 5'5" and 5'1". Angie Hill's tall. She makes you respect a lot of things. She's always got volume out there. She's always pressing, and so does Andrade, but she's about the same height as Lemos. The height difference is going to be significant. And I think you're right. Those front kicks, the twos, the jab, everything to keep Andrade off her. And I think she will. Weirdly, I think she puts Andrade out, puts her to sleep. I just see Andrade coming in to kill her, and those fast hands of Lemos not being seen. And I see a quick night for Lemos. I think she's going to look phenomenal here. I cannot believe she's an underdog, which is crazy to me. Although conventional wisdom would tell you Andrade. Um, man, I like Lemos a lot here. This is how I'm going to play this fight.
I I like it. I like it. I like it. I know, man. I mean, just the physicality and the cardio and the durability that we've seen of Andrade. But I mean, honestly, even the Rose fight where she knocked Rose out, Rose was cleaning her up. I mean, Rose was just is in Rose's footwork is gorgeous. All right. Like she does not, I do not think she has the power or even the speed of Lemos, but this is a smaller, it's going to benefit Lemos. Or I'm sorry, it's going to benefit Andrade. But Lemos does a good job of getting off the cage, of scrambling back up. She knows what to do. She does all of the right stuff. I mean, can Andrade hit one of those big hooks? But again, you see people cower to Andrade, and when they don't cower to Andrade, Andrade has a very hard time with them. She is the bully, and if she is not the bully, she generally does not have great success.
I think this is going to be a good week. I'm really glad that we did this. I'm glad that we sat down on camera and we talked about it because now I'm seeing some clarity. I'm seeing some spots. This was I had to crash course it a little bit because I didn't have ESPN Plus in Costa Rica. I had to crash course it. There's some spots I really really love here, and the odds. See the boomer bust on these kind of cards. These lame cards is that the odds are so close that you can make some serious money on this, even though they're not all kinds of juice favorites. You just got to get lucky a couple times, and you can make some serious, serious money here. So The more that we've talked about this, the more confident that I feel. I'm excited for this one now. This moved up to my fourth favorite card to bet.
Nice. Well, you guys, we said it earlier. If you guys go to mybookie.ag, sign up with MMA Picks 50, use that code, send us, a DM, and just show us that you signed up. We'll give you a free month on the Patreon. If you don't want to do that, you already have a MyBookie account. Come check us out on the Patreon. It's only $25 a month. And that gives you, people are charging $25, $50, $100 a month for just Discord. That doesn't even include just the actual picks and all of the regional stuff, of ours in one clean area. So check out, if you're already on MyBookie or if you don't want to sign up for whatever crazy reason, check out our Patreon in the show notes. Come try us out. I think you guys will be happy. And other than that, man, it's good to have you back. Glad you didn't die in Costa Rica. Glad you weren't in like Venezuela, trying to be a hero or something.
Couple times I got into those taxis. I was like, I wonder where he's taking me. He could get a good price for me. I got colored eyes.
Yeah, I'm surprised you made it back. I'm surprised you wanted to come back. But you're back. We're back. This week, a lot of stuff is going to be up on the Patreon with LFA, CFFC, multiple Bellator fights. We've got PFL. It is a money-making week. So we will see you guys on the Patreon, over on our Patreon, on our Discord. And if you're not there, too bad. So sad. That's it. We will see you guys next week.
All right, guys. Thanks. Peace.